Hey guys, so we're family over here, right? Tisha here, welcome back. I'm mad. I am hot. First of all, do not mind me. I'm a snake right now. You all don't know this about me, but I have extremely sensitive skin to the point where I'm back in the gym and I'm quickly being reminded of one of the things that I hate, which is when I sweat. It burns the mess out of my face. So I've been using extra stuff that has me peeling like nobody's business. And as a result, I just saw myself on camera and I was like, girl, you really look like you going through it. That's the first thing. Second thing, Sister Wives, season 4, marriage counseling, Texas style. I hope I have enough memory for this because I'm hot. Like super hot. There were so many things going on in this episode that made it blatantly obvious how little Cody regards Christine and what a bad therapist Nancy is. I'm sorry. I gotta call it like I see it. The fact that he was able to get away with saying some of the things that he said and not following the exercise the way that the exercise was supposed to be followed with the whole rock thing, I'm hot. But we're going to start from the beginning. So all the adults are heading to the attorney's office to discuss this adoption stuff, right? We begin the episode with Robin digging for her divorce papers so she can show Ron, because you guys remember Ron was previously introduced to us as Mary's attorney for this divorce, you know, the one that she claimed that she found. Well, now all of a sudden, Robin is calling him their attorney. So Cody let us know that for the past 2 weeks, they've been going through legal hell, trying to work out this adoption. And I'm just like, 3 whole weeks? My goodness, I guess all the people who wait years to be able to adopt the child are really, really going through something. If 3 weeks for Cody is hell, the exaggeration, the dramatization bothers me. We're reminded that Mary graciously offered a divorce to make it easier for Robin and Cody to adopt the kids. And I still cannot believe that the family fell for this narrative. So Robin says that revisiting this is stressing her out a little bit. I don't care about Robin's stress because she's the one who is currently in this episode working to strip the rights of her children's biological father for what I believe is an inheritance. I'm sorry, I see no other reason for it, because at this point, these children are all old enough that their desires would have been considered, especially Aurora and Dayton's. And they could have put other things in place in order to ensure that the kids stayed with the family. So I personally feel that this is about money, because she was not at risk of having her ex-husband take away those kids. We heard that Robin wanted the divorce to be done in Montana because it makes it easier for her ex, and because the judges don't discriminate against polygamous community as much when it comes to things like adoption issues. So as a result of what the previous attorney told Robin, they're going to go ahead and head to Ron, as they're calling him, whose name is Ronald Reynolds, attorney at law, to help navigate. Sorry. As soon as I said it, I had to be like, attorney at law, to help navigate them through the process. Robin says they've been working on the adoption with her attorney that handled the divorce, named Sasha. She says that they started working on it, but Sasha is having complications. Basically, the judge told Sasha that because Cody and the kids and Robin live in Nevada, that the case needs to be started there. Robin tells Ronald that they are mostly doing this so her ex can't come back and say, hey, you guys didn't give me a real fair shake here. But I don't believe that's true, because didn't Robin just tell us that her previous attorney said that it needs to be done in Nevada? So fair shake or not, y'all don't really care. Y'all just want this done because you want it to be done. Cody even gave away the fact that you felt like it would be more likely for you to get what you wanted if you did it in Montana. So don't act like you're trying to do this man favors. So she said she wants to start the process there and then somehow get it back to Montana. She claims that the person who's been trying to serve him isn't able to serve him, but when they've tried to do it, that they see him coming out and running out of the back door. So he's avoiding being served. By no means do I believe what Robin is saying is true, because I feel like Robin is a liar. Ron says if he does not sign, then the court is going to have to make a finding. At that point, he's going to have a record. And I'm a little confused on that. If you understand it, put it down below, because I don't understand if he's saying that he'll have a record because he's not allowing them to serve him, or because he's not responding to being served. I'm a little confused about that. He says he'll have a court order that says he's a neglectful parent if he doesn't do certain things, and he'll be presumed to have abandoned and neglected the children. And I'm hearing him say this, and I'm like, okay, they really backed this man into a corner. So Robin says if he will sign, and if he says I relinquish my rights so Cody can adopt the kids, it makes it look like he's looking out for the best interests of the kids. And I don't see how him signing willingly makes it seem like he's looking out for the best interests of the kids. Whether he signs or not, whether he agrees or disagrees, either way, it doesn't look good to me. I've said it before. Seeing some of the things that we've now seen play out in some of the different text messages and the things that have been said and the information that's been released about this situation, I thought previously that he was a crappy parent that wasn't fighting for his kids. But now seeing the way that they operated and how they used the courts against him and certain terminologies against him, knowing that that man did not have the finances or legal power to back himself up, I feel badly for him, because I feel like he was backed against the corner that made him feel like he had no other option other than to sign these papers. She says that they want to play nice and they want to make it so that if he does decide to, and then we see her I don't know what that looked like, but it's the fakest crap that I've ever seen. There is no way that this woman is currently having some form of panic attack and she's maintaining the same complexion. There's no freaking way that she's sitting here saying that she's out of breath and she can't breathe and she's maintaining the same complexion. So she says, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Rips off the mic, stands up, and walks away. But she can't breathe. Does anything ring a bell? Because this scene that she just did reminds me of something very similar that we saw this season, minus some of the gasping. I'm so tired of her faking these panic attacks. So we overhear the producer saying, let's cut it for a second. She comes back and they're playing that slightly ominous music. You know, the kind that makes you a little concerned. She claims, I don't know what happened. I just couldn't breathe all of a sudden. I'll tell you what happened. She laid back. She said, oh! Sorry, guys. She's like, I don't know what happened. What happened was you faked the gas, you made a scene, you walked out because you couldn't breathe, so you said. She said she was overwhelmed and she couldn't talk and she just couldn't breathe. But she could talk and she obviously was breathing. The visit with Ron now has her thinking about how bad this can hurt her ex and his family and how this could follow him around. Please understand that that bird does not care about her ex or his family, not after the false accusations that she's been making about him for years. She's been trying, so she says, to get him to understand that they don't mean to take the kids from him in terms of visitation. But I thought she told us that he hasn't been visiting them. So why is that even something that she would need to say? See the game she's playing? She says she doesn't want to go to war with him. But Kody already told us that he does. She says if he signs, no, well, she doesn't say if they sign. Kody asks, like, after he signs and how long could the process take? And Ronald tells them, like, if he signs, they could be adopted as soon as next week. The family chairs, they're full of sugar honey iced tea, in my opinion. And I just feel like it's a bunch of crap. So it's a new day. Kody and Christine are heading to Texas to celebrate their anniversary. He kisses Janelle goodbye. He then goes and kisses Robin goodbye, tells her he loves her. Then we see him also kiss Brianna goodbye. He gets to Christine, where they had to meet up with Mary and go to the airport. Now, I don't know whether or not he kissed Mary because we didn't see him embrace her or anything, but we also didn't see them arrive at the airport. But Mary is their ride. We find out that they'll be visiting Texas. They're going to be seeing Pat Merkley, who was previously their counselor when they lived in Utah, and now she is also a dear friend. It's their 21st anniversary, and since they need help, they're bringing Nancy, their new therapist, with them. So I don't understand why they couldn't get help without bringing a therapist with them on vacation. To me, therapy is not vacation. Therapy is rewarding at times, but it's also draining. So I personally would not want to spend most of the only time that I get with my husband just doing therapy. Christine says it does seem odd bringing a therapist with them, but she's looking forward to it. She said she's reached to a point where every day is hard and it's hard to see a silver lining. But there are times, even with Christine saying it's hard to see a silver lining sitting right next to Kody, there are times where Kody has told us that he didn't know that Christine was unhappy. Yet we have Christine sitting here right beside him explaining how hard it's been for her and how unhappy she is. I wonder how much her unhappiness came once Robin came into the picture. So Kody doesn't feel like the problems that they have can be resolved with their 2-hour sessions that they've been having with Nancy, even though he has seen a little bit of progress. He thinks, and so does Christine, that they'll go farther with more time. Like they'll accomplish more if they have more time with her. Kody says a beautiful walk on the beach while being held accountable might give us a breakthrough. But in my opinion, at no point was Kody held accountable for anything. And we haven't seen him take accountability because even in the exercise that they later do, I didn't see Kody take accountability. So they arrive at what looks like a bread and breakfast in Galveston, Texas. Kody is calling it an inn. Pat arrives and Christine is really, really excited to see her because Galveston, Texas has a history of pirates. Pat brings them some booty. He says, I'm in love with Pat because she can tell me to straighten up and I'll just do it. And I'm sitting here listening to him say that. I'm like, okay, so you can straighten up and listen to a platonic friend, but you're not willing to listen to your own wife. Instead, you have certain demands for your wife and you think she's supposed to just adhere to them. So Nancy arrives and she's greeted. Kody says that Pat is very sweet and she has a gift for validation. That he can say that life sucks and she'll say, I know it's hard and it's okay. Basically letting us know that Kody likes Pat because she stands by him, because she validates his feelings. And to me, that's not enough. You know, one of the key things to stay on Cody's Brown good side is to not go against him. And it seems like Pat doesn't do that. I feel like once Pat became friends with them, that it compromised how she may have counseled them as a family. But that's just my opinion, though. You all let me know yours. So Christine points out that he could say the same thing to Nancy, and they both agree that Nancy would end up telling him to stop whining, which is why a lot of the times when Nancy said things to him, he either became offensive or did the polar opposite of what she said to do, much like what we saw later on in the episode. Supposedly, Nancy is the accountability person, but I didn't see her hold him accountable. Janelle points out that Cody does not like counseling sometimes because it's a laundry list of things that people have against him. The Bird then lets us know that Cody isn't shy when he has a problem. It's not like he holds on to it, that he gets to voicing his opinions too. If you're watching, pay attention to these scenes, because while they were talking in confessionals, I don't recall Mary saying much of anything. Once again, Mary looks disengaged. The Bird says she feels for him, but at the end of the day, Cody did choose this. I wonder how Cody would feel about her saying that, since he likes to say that the women chose this. We see Cody and Christine on the beach with Nancy. Nancy tells each one of them to go and grab a stick. They're told to each draw a line in the sand. Cody says that there's this line that each wife has to understand that he's going to have drawn, which is his line that shows that he loves and adores and has relationships with other wives, and that the family, his wives and his kids as a whole, need to be respected. Nancy says over the next few days, we're going to be drawing lines, but we're going to understand what we do out of conviction and what we do out of anger. Because if you pay attention to Cody tends to do a lot of things out of anger. We then see Cody being told to draw a line and say what that line represents. So he draws a line and he says, I'm never going to say that it's done and it's over. And Christine joins him and draws on that same exact line. We see them hug and we see them embrace, and Christine is extremely giddy to draw her line with his. It just shows how much Christine longed to be connected to him, and how Christine at some point did truly love him and was in love with him. They then ask if they're done. Nancy says yes, and we see them walk along the beach together. It's what I'm assuming is the next day. We see them dressed in the booty that they got from Pat, which was pirate gear. They go to this place that's like a pirate ship museum type of thing. Christine says it's basically like a kid's wonderland. As I watched them do the different activities and things, I personally wouldn't like it. To me, it seems like something that's made for kids, but the both of them seem to enjoy it. Let me say it now, because I'm going to be leaving out certain things. If there's something that I leave out that you would like to discuss, leave it down below. So Janelle says she thinks that what defines Christine and Cody's relationship is that they're goofy together. To me, you need more than just goofiness. Don't get me wrong. One of the favorite things that I love to do is be goofy around my boyfriend, to the point where I have videos of him singing off key and acting up, and there's videos of me putting my fur baby in a headlock and plus wrestling and playing around with him. And we enjoy those goofy moments, but I wouldn't say that's what defines us. Because if that's all that defines us, then what else do we have? What happens when I'm not being that goofy person? Does that mean because I'm not being the goofy person that he's supposed to love me less? Because it seems like that's what Cody does. They started having difficulties because the joy and goofiness that Janelle talks about left. Christine said that she had to suppress a lot of her feelings because she couldn't handle when she was a real self. She told us this in season 18 recently. And in this episode, I saw a lot of that. I saw a lot of her suppressing her feelings and displaying what seemed like joy to appease her husband. So we see them later sit on the porch and have another conversation with Nancy. Cody says when you don't have trust, to him, you don't have intimacy. And Christine has noticed the lack of intimacy. I wonder if this is the point where they were being intimate like 5 times a year. I'm not quite sure, but they're talking about the lack of intimacy. And Christine had asked him about it, why they hadn't been being intimate. And understand, intimate doesn't necessarily mean that you're having intercourse. There are other forms of intimacy, and she's saying that they weren't having any. And he said to her, because there's a lack of trust. Kody penalizes these women in various ways, and that was how he was penalizing her. He said it's been unfolding the last few weeks. Apparently, while in Utah, which I don't understand what the last few weeks have to do with Utah, but this is how it came up. He said, while in Utah, Christine expressed her hate towards the principal because of the sharing and the jealousy. She said, yes, she did say that she was miserable, and it was hard for her to see him having those romantic relationships when they were struggling. And I feel like that's because Kody punished her during her struggle. Christine said that she was jealous as can be, and she just didn't know that she would be a jealous person. She's so jealous and she's so angry. And she says, rather than Kody looking at the emotions of what she was feeling, all he took from that conversation was holding on to the fact that she said she hated plural marriage. So nothing else mattered but her saying that she hated plural marriage. Not her hating it because of the jealousy, but because she just hated it in his eyes. And I feel like that's because Kody hears what he wants to hear, much like his bird, because his bird does the same thing. Christine says she began, well, she didn't say it, I say it. I think that during this time, Christine began feeling what it felt like to have Kody not be in love with her. Because once Robin came into the picture and Christine started expressing her feelings and her frustrations with how he was handling himself, he removed himself from her. He says, you appreciating that our family together and you appreciating what we are makes me trust you. And I don't feel like that's fair, because Christine encouraged the family being together, even though it's obviously something that she didn't want. And because she had hesitations about how plural lifestyle was working out for her in that moment, you're now going to turn it into a thing where she hates the marriage. She said when she said she hated plural marriage, that Kody shut down. And she said just because she's not enjoying it does not mean that she planned on leaving it. And I think that that's part of Kody's problem. Kody did not think that Christine would leave. Christine says they don't communicate without pushing each other's buttons, so they struggle with their foundation. And at this point, she doesn't see a foundation. And I said to myself, that's the same thing that he said about Mary, that Mary and him push each other's buttons. So Kody definitely is a lot of the problem. She says you can't trust someone who can't hear you. And for them, communication is a big deal because they're not good at it. We then see Christine's house. Christine's mom is enjoying her time with Isabel, Peyton, and Truly. Her mom's happy that they went away to have time to focus on one another. They're sitting at the table and eating. Back to Galveston. They are told to build something with rocks that is symbolic of their anniversary. Not the family, not the other 3 wives, but their anniversary. Nancy says it can involve the years or how many children they share, but it needs to be something that they do together with their vision for now or perhaps for the future. As they walk down, Kody says, I want to build a house with a foundation of 4 corners for 4 of my wives. Christine said it's supposed to be our relationship, but he wants to do the family. And it's because at no point is it about Christine. She said, we're building a house because we say all the time that our family is the soul of our home. That's what Kody says. At no point did Kody ask her for her input. He really didn't want it. So she says again, she wanted it to be about them. She wanted to have rocks that represented things like love and trust and companionship. But that's not what he wanted, so that's not what they did. So an exercise that was supposed to involve them working together, building something that represented their relationship, turned into Comey, turned into Kody, hammering in his need for Christine to include the family. The 4 foundation stones were for the 4 wives. He said Christine was trying to do it in another direction, but I wasn't going to let her. It was about the whole family. Now, even though Nancy said it should have been about Christine and Kody, he was allowed to do this. And I felt in that moment Nancy dropped the ball during this exercise because she didn't call him out on it. We then have Robin in confessional say there's a lot of times where Kody wants to do things with all of them together, but sometimes his wives are just thinking like, hey, can it just be maybe you, me, and our kids? Understand that she's not talking about his wives there. She's talking about herself, and I feel like this is something that she did on more than one occasion. Christine says he doesn't get that she wants him to be present with her in this moment. Once he gets an idea in his head, there isn't any communication about it. She says he bulldozes and he does what he thinks needs to be done. And sometimes it's for the good of everybody, but other times the way that he goes about it just hurts. And I feel like that's something to marinate on. I don't understand why Nancy didn't see how uncomfortable Christine was during this exercise, because literally all Christine was doing was handing him rocks so he could do what he wanted. And he was telling her which kind to get. She didn't contribute at all to the exercise. She says in the end, he wouldn't do what I like him to do. It's no way that he was gonna let her do it and she was gonna win. So she just decided to try to lose with grace. He said, I would have there's no way she was gonna do it. She tried to lose with grace. He wanted to bring home the message, in my opinion, that the family was the most important thing, even more important than him and Christine, even though this was supposed to be about him and Christine. She said, if it was up to me, because Nancy sits down and talks with them, I would have chosen a theme about us. In front of Nancy, he says, honor the family and I will love you. Mother bleep 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 bleep. Honor the family and I will love you. What in the hell? And Nancy hears him say this and she says nothing to him saying that. Like, you don't think to say that's not right, Kody? What happened to unconditional love? Nancy points out that she saw some of the old dynamic with her making suggestions and him not listening. He says, I understand I railroaded you, Christine, and I'm not sorry for that. What? Once again, Nancy does not call him out. He says she's looking for love. Christine came to a family that was well established already before she came in. And he doesn't want to be about how romantic their relationship is. Once again, he does not care about Christine or her feelings. Terminate him. So in this moment, he's saying he doesn't want it to be about how romantic their relationship is. And later on, he's going to say something completely different to Pat. She explains, Christine does, that she gets frustrated with Kody because she cares about her sister wives more than he says that she does. And her actions have proven it. She says, I know I may fall short sometimes and I'm not always secure and I'm not always solid, but I need you to trust me. He says, okay. He says, I believe you. I'll give you that. So she basically waved her white flag. So we see them go to a fancy place for dinner and she says one of the things that she wanted from this trip was understanding, and now she understands. And he says, understands what? And she says, I now understand that the family is the most important thing to you and she can't make it about them. And as I heard her talking, I just felt that it was sad the way she had to give up pieces of herself like that, because she wanted it to be about the family and her. But he never wanted to make it about her. He just wanted to make it about the family. And my question is, who is the family? Being about the family didn't mean that he needed to disregard her. She points out how Kody used to be easily frustrated by Gwen, and now he kind of tries to take time with her, and seeing him be invested with Gwen made her love him more. So here she's trying to give us reasons as to why she loves Kody, but it's fallen short because we've already seen how he's disregarded her. And she never connected it to how he really felt about her truly loving his sister wives as far as the family love. And I just don't understand what that means. If you get it, let me know. The last day they walk on the beach with Pat and talk about how things went with Nancy. He brings up the other wives again, and how he's always been afraid to acknowledge, validate, or witness the depression, the pain, the loss, and the sorrow of jealousy, or anything that someone's dealing with in a marriage. So then he should have never been married. If you don't want to acknowledge your mate's feelings, why are you married? Just to procreate? It took his 21st anniversary, according to him, to realize that when Christine is in pain, he can't be offended by it or feel burdened by it. And I feel like you're saying anything here because you don't believe it, because she was trying to express herself to you even in the rock exercise, and you didn't even take the time to hear it. But he says he has to validate it, yet he didn't validate her feelings in that rock exercise. He then talks about Mary and how he was learning that he needed to validate her feelings and empathize rather than disagree with her. He said, a wife said it, when I'm in hell, I need you to lay down there with me. And I just wonder which wife it was. I thought it was Mary, but I'm not sure. But either way, he ain't laying down with anybody other than the bird. Christine, as he's saying all of this, is just sitting there looking uncomfortable, but she kind of smiles a little bit. It's just sad to see. Christine said they just need to see the good in each other, that they're going to be thrown back into the pot again once they get home and the wives are there and the kids are there. And she's just struggling to hang on to the time that she has now with him during this trip and trying to figure out how to bring it back home. The key is to make time, in my opinion. This episode, because that's the end, seems to be yet another instance where Kody got away with not considering Christine. What happened to words like unconditional love? Instead, we get honor the family and I'll honor you, or honor the family and I'll love you. That sounds ridiculous. That's conditional love. That's not unconditional love. And I don't understand how Nancy could not call him out on this. What kind of accountability is it to let a husband say some of the things that we watched during this episode and that we saw? It's not love. And it sounds to me like neither one of these therapists were really doing their job. And him using things like honor me and I'll honor the family, and I'll love you, kind of sounds like yet another way to control. You all, please leave your thoughts and opinions down below. Please like the video. It helps me get my face out there on these YouTube streets. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I know there's some things that I left out. Y'all, my face is really, really itching, like for real, for real. And if I scratch too much, the scales are just gonna be ridiculous. But yeah, if I left something out, please, please, please feel free to put it down below, and I'll make sure that I answer when I see it. Until next time.